What's good, Wizards fans? It's your host, the real Ed Oliver and Brandon Scott. And after the Wizards winning streak, they go back on another losing streak over the weekend. We're going to recap the game against the Pistons and also the Miami Heat. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. It's your host, the real Ed Oliver and Brandon Scott. Just want to say happy Easter to everybody or whoever celebrates. Hope you guys had a good time with your family today and watching the games over the weekend as well. So we're going to get into the first game against the Pistons, and then we'll recap the Miami Heat game and get to some comments and hear from you guys like we always do. But what stood out to you about the Pistons game, and what were some reasons why the Wizards ended up losing that game 96-87, which was the battle of lottery position, and of course the Kyle Kuzma comments, don't be that team. So we know there was a lot of history with that, a little bit with the Pistons. But what were your thoughts about that game?
We lost it in third quarter, man. Easy. I mean, that third quarter was a defining moment because I feel like they played really good basketball up to that point, man. I would say that the fourth quarter was a small lineup I wasn't a big fan of. I feel like they could have put Marvin Bagley, the third, back in there, and it would have made a difference, in my opinion. But to me, that was the two biggest factors because it was relatively close. Like I said, up to that point, man, I mean, we were playing really good basketball to a certain degree. I mean, it was an off night for several people, but I mean, the young guys stepped up. Corey Kispert, Denny Avdia. Looking at the stat line for our Wiz, Jordan Poole struggled. Now 7 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 turnovers. So wasn't his best night. 3 for 15 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3. So he was very active, very aggressive, but the shot just didn't drop for him, man. So it is what it is. Corey Kispert the same. Now 8 boards is definitely a positive, but 12 points, 3 assists, shooting 5 for 22 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3. So again, very aggressive on offense. Just the shot did not drop. I feel like both of them did have some open looks, and there was a few times where they kind of rushed a shot or forced a shot, but overall, I feel like they had overall good looks, and the shot just wasn't dropping, in my opinion. And looking at Bags, man, 15 points, 11 rebounds, 7 for 9 from the field, 2 blocks. Marvin Bagley III continues to show why DC is the place for him, man, because he continues to play really good basketball in the nation's cap. But the two guys on the starting unit that really are a big reason why they were in the game, in my opinion, is first, Corey Kispert, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 9 for 12 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3, cooking like an air fryer from 3-point range. Denny Avdia, 1 assist away from a triple-double, 18 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 6 for 14 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, 4 for 4 from the charity strike, had 5 turnovers just like Kuz and Poole. But look, we had all 3 of them are very aggressive players, which we want to see. So I'm not going to harp on them too much. I mean, like I said, the third quarter was the defining factor of this game. I mean, we lost this game in the third quarter because I felt like we really had a good position to win this game. Looking at the second unit didn't really show up technically. Jared Butler, 20 minutes played, but 6 points, 2 assists. He's been playing good basketball, so I'm not going to get on too much. And then Anthony Gill, 17 minutes, 6 points, 3 rebounds. Johnny Davis, 9 minutes, 0 for 1 from the field overall. Patrick Baldwin Jr., 0 for 1, 7 minutes. Jules Bernard, only 4 minutes played, 0 for 2. So, look, if the two defining factors, in my opinion, or 2 people that kind of kept us in this game was definitely Corey Kispert and Denny Avdia. So, yeah, I mean, if I'm going to chop it up, man, I'm going to say that it was definitely the third quarter. I mean, like I said, I don't know what happened in the third quarter, man, but look, Detroit went on a run. And if you look at Detroit real quick, Kay Cunningham, I mean, he was cooking, 33 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 13 for 33. So he definitely got his shots up, man, but he wrote with a hot hand. Jalen Durant, and, he seems he's going to be the new Wizards killer, man, because he always puts up really good numbers against us. And like I said, I agree with you, at the time, with Gaff in the roster, we really didn't need to draft him, but man, he was looking good that slot, man. I mean, he's come in NBA ready, and he's putting up a really good stat line for the Pistons. So, I mean, kind of the same with their bench. I mean, Evan Fournier hit a couple of good threes, but it was really Durant and Cunningham versus Corey Kispert and Denny Avdia. So, yeah, taking our foot off the pedal, I think, is what Doom does against the Pistons, man.
Yeah, they were down by 19. They came back. They tried to rally back, and in the fourth quarter, they closed the door. Cade Cunningham getting to the basket, Jalen Duren getting a couple wide open dunks. They just couldn't stop the Pistons from getting into the paint. It was a kind of an ugly offensive game. We only put up 87. We didn't get to 100. The Wizards typically get to 100 points, but yeah, they just couldn't stop Cade. Cade took 33 shots, 33 points off of 33 shots. Yeah. And then Jalen Duren with 20 points and 17 boards. Anytime we play a big that is a solid rebounder, they usually have a crazy game with 20 points, 17 boards. And we've seen Mark Williams get 20 and 20 against the Wizards. And Rashawn Holmes was out. So Marvin Bagley had to step up. He played pretty well with a double-double, even though he gave up 17. He didn't give up 17 boards, but, Jalen Duren ended up with 17 rebounds. Kuz had a rough night, 0 for 6 from the 3, 5 for 22 from the field with 12 points. And then Corey shot the lights out with 5 threes, 9 for 12 from the field. And Denny, like you brought up, flirted with a triple-double, had 9 assists. But, yeah, they just couldn't get stops down the stretch when they really, really needed them. And that really hurt them. And then they dug themselves in a hole and then tried to rally back. They lost the third quarter 20 the Wizards actually won the third quarter 35-21, but they were down. They lost the second quarter 36-20. So at half they were down. They were getting dominated for the most part. And the Pistons, they looked a little bit more spry and athletic. I know Metu, he had a really athletic block on Kyle Kuzma. Jalen Duren had 3 blocks. Jaden Ivey had 1 block. But they just looked a little bit more athletic and a little bit more quicker to the basketball than what the Wizards did on Friday night. The Wizards ended up with 19 turnovers as well. They had 19 turnovers. The rebounding battle was even, which we've done a lot better rebounding the ball. They got to the free throw line more than us too. They had 20 free throws. We only had 8. Both teams didn't shoot well from the 3-point line. But Detroit, they just looked a little bit more physical. They just looked faster. They looked more athletic as well. They looked like they wanted that game more than what the Wizards did.
Yeah, it's my bad, man. I'm mixing games, man. You're right about the third quarter. I'm gonna revert back and say the fourth quarter. That's what I meant to say because like you said, up to that point, Detroit was giving us the business, man. At that point, at the half, we had 40 points, so you're definitely right on that. But this was a game where it was pretty much 2 players. It pretty much was 2 against 2. I mean, it's like Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren versus Corey Kispert and Denny Avdia. Like I said, Denny Avdia, with his rebounding, with his vision, has definitely stepped up. Corey Kispert, when his shot is on, man, he's really turned into a 3-level scorer, in my opinion, because if you add in the fact that, he can cut, he can drive to the basket, he's definitely evolved into a 3-level scorer, in my opinion. So those 2 guys, man, like I said, I'm really high on both of them as far as being part of the future because both of them have really, really stepped up their game this year. But, Detroit, I mean, you said it. I mean, 33 attempts. And if you look at points in the paint, 52-46, but that has been an issue for us all year long, man, just protecting the paint. And I tell you, man, from watching him in person, Cade Cunningham, man, like being a Wizards fan, you don't want, man. I mean, you don't really watch too much Cade Cunningham, because we don't get a lot of games, obviously, with Detroit. But I mean, watching him in person, man. I mean, Cade Cunningham, he's that guy, man. He's a good player. But we got, like I said, with Rashawn being out, man, we didn't have enough bodies in there to really protect the paint. But yeah, that fourth, man, like I said, not the third, because like I said, about the games, man. But I thought it was a winnable game, but it looked like Detroit just wanted it more, man. Just like, and we're about to talk about it with the game for the night, man. But it just seems like these last 2 games just run out of steam, man. It's like they're ready for the season to end because they look tired, man. So yeah, all your points are on point, man. So
right, yeah, they're ready for Cancun. As the saying is, 1, 2, 3, Cancun.
Are we all?
They're ready. They're ready to go on vacation. They really are. But we're gonna recap the Miami Heat game. But before we do, today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. March is over, but the biggest moments in college basketball tip off the month of April. Be a part of the action on PrizePicks for both men's and women's college basketball. Get in on the playoff action. Win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks. As you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with basketball, hockey, college basketball entries today on PrizePicks, America's number one fantasy sports app. Today, I did have Bam Adebayo getting a double-double. I got that wrong, but I did have Nikola Jovic getting over 6.5 points. He cleared that with 12. So I kind of had a rough day a little bit. Looking at my other picks, I had Corey Kispert getting over 2.5 threes. Clearly did not hit that. Let me see what else I had from this game. But, yeah, the only one that I hit on was really Nikola Jovic getting over 6.5 points today. He had 12. So I was very surprised. Bam Adebayo ended up with 9 rebounds. Didn't get 10, so he should have got a double-double. He's like the only big man that we played against that did not get a double-double. For whatever reason, only one rebound away. Oh, I'm sorry. No, on PrizePicks, I had him getting over 10 rebounds. He ended up with 9.
Yeah.
So he's like the only big man that I've ever seen only get 9 rebounds against the Wizards, which is just ridiculous. But, yeah, make sure you guys download PrizePicks today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Make sure you guys use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Also, guys, make sure you guys check out the 24/7 Locked On stream. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest sports stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, so let's transition into the Miami Heat game. The Wizards lost to the Miami Heat. They were playing them tough for the majority of the game. They they got away towards the end. Really, that excuse me, that second half, really the third, like you brought up, the third and the fourth quarter, really just the second half, it got away from them. They lost 119-107. What were your thoughts about the Miami Heat game?
Yo, the Wizards are out of gas, man. Like they just looked tired tonight. I mean, Miami was able to pretty much do whatever they wanted to do. Because if you look at it from a team statistical standpoint, I mean, we won the battle of rebounds. We won it 53-45, including 7-6 in offensive rebounds, assists 27-22. Steals. I mean, to me, defense was the defining factor as far as Miami. Because if you look at, 8 blocks compared to our 1, and 11 steals compared to their 6, and they capitalized. So, I mean, that to me, those are the defining factors tonight. But overall, it just seems like they're tired, man. Like you said, I think mentally they're ready for the season to end. I think it is what it is because they know that they're not going to make the playoffs, and pretty much these are the last 7 games, and I think a lot of them are checking out. But like I said, from a team standpoint, we won a lot of categories. Now, Terry Rozier, man, I mean, he was on fire tonight for Miami. I mean, looking at 27 points, 11 for 19, 5 for 11 from 3. Looking at our whiz, Jordan Poole, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 8 for 20 from the field, 4 for 12 from 3. So his shot was better, but definitely working his way back up because he struggled against the Pistons. My bad. But looking at Corey Kispert, 13 points, 40 minutes tonight though. 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 for 13 for the field, 1 for 7. So he cooled down a little bit, including missing 2 free throws. So he definitely got to work on the free throws. But a couple steals. Denny, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Very active on the offense and defensive end, shooting 5 for 12 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, 4 for 4 from the charity strike, 1 steal, 1 block, and 3 turnovers. And getting back to Poole, 4 turnovers. But with him, playing point, he's definitely getting better with the turnovers. So I'm not going to get on him tonight. Patrick Baldwin Jr. 0 for 8 from the field, including 0 for 8 from 3. So if you look at him, he is very reliant on that jump shot. And we both said that there's times where his rebound numbers are solid, but there's times where he totally disappears from the offense. He's got to find other ways on a consistent basis to be involved in the offense. He cannot rely on threes. I mean, 0 for 8, and that's, 3 rebounds, but we're definitely expecting more. Marvin Bagley, the third, 12 points, 10 boards, 2 steals. So, Marvin Bagley, again, I've been very impressed with him overall. Being in DC, man, he's found his spot, he's found his system, he's found the right place to utilize his skill set, and he's been enjoyable to watch here in the DMV, man. So get on the bench, and 2 names really come out, man. Number one, Anthony Gill, the player coach himself, man. he's continued to put in some quality minutes. I mean, tonight, especially that first half, man, he was playing really good basketball. 18 points, 4 rebounds, 7 for 12 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3. Missed a couple free throws, but look, I ain't mad at him. Jared Butler, again, continues to show why he should be in consideration for the backup point guard role next season. 14 points, 7 assists, shooting 5 for 6 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the charity strike. So those two guys, man, look, I'm not gonna say it kept us in the fight because I don't think there was much fight, but they continue to show quality minutes off the bench, man. Anthony Gill, in my opinion, has been kind of the he's definitely been an unsung hero for this team. I don't think we put enough emphasis or respect on Anthony Gill when it comes to leadership. We talk about Kuz, rightfully so. But Anthony Gill, man, if you look at if you take time to look at him on the sidelines, his body language, man, he's the first guy out of the huddle, first guy to meet guys and high five, first guy out to the pool, help people up off the floor. He's sitting there on the knee, just watching the game, analyzing. I could definitely see a future coach in him, man. But, overall, him and Jared Butler have provided really, really good minutes for the Wizards. So, Johnny Davis, 18 minutes, 4 points, 5 rebounds. So the rebound numbers are not bad. Shooting 2 for 3. Obviously, we all expect more. I'm not going to get in too much about Johnny Davis, but definitely want to expect more out of him. And Tristan Vukcevic hitting a 3-pointer with 2 rebounds and 2 assists. So definitely want to see him get a lot more looks, man, and or more playing minutes, that is. And to round it out, Jules Bernard, 8 minutes, but in 8 minutes, he got 6 points, 2 for 2 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3. So it's just it was effort, man. I hate to say this, but I think they're checked out. 7 games left. They know that right now these 7 games are just are an audition for next year. And, the veterans, man, who know they're going to be here are checked out. And, it is what it is. There is no expectation. So, it's just, I said it before, people spend time and money to go to games and, you got to show up and play hard, man. But I also get the flip side of the coin. I get it. You're not playing for anything at this point, and it is what it is, man.
Yeah, the only positive tonight was Anthony Gill. Yeah. He had, if I'm not mistaken, his career high with 18 points tonight. No Kuz, no Rashawn Holmes. Of course, that didn't help. Not saying we would have won the game, but that would have helped against Bam Adebayo and some of the other bigs. Thomas Bryant played for the Heat tonight, former Wizard. But it would have helped in the front court. But I thought Bagley did a good job, stepped up with another double-double tonight with 12 points and 10 boards. And Pat Baldwin really struggled tonight. 0 for 8 from the field, 0 for 8 from the 3-point line. The only shot he took was threes. He's 6'10", like he can do so much more. I like the one time I remember one game where he took it to the basket just off a pump fake and dunked it. Like he can be much more than just a standstill shooter. Yeah, I think he can do more than that. I know he's not the best ball handler in the world, but he's got to use his size differently and use his size to his advantage. We talked about Kuz. When he first got here, he was settling for threes and not getting to the basket. But Pat Baldwin's a guy who's 6'10" as well. I think he's a guy that can use his size and get to the basket too. So that's something he really needs to improve on because I think he's talented. But if he's just going to go out there and shoot 8 threes, that's like Davis Bertans type of numbers right there, just going 0 for 8 from the field. But just to talk about the overall game, I thought they were really competitive in that first half. But the second half, Jimmy Butler woke up in the fourth quarter. He posted up Jared Butler. Had a spin move, got an and-1. He started taking it to the basket. He kind of started – Jimmy Butler he took the game a little bit more seriously in the second half when he was kind of coasting and cruising in that first half. And Nikola Jovic had a hot start. And same thing with Bam Adebayo, Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier was the one who really, really hurt the Wizards in that first half. He had 20 points and cooled off in the second half a little bit. But he had a really nice move on Marvin Bagley where it was a crossover. He got to the basket. And he hit a couple threes in that first half, too. He hit one big three before the half to go up 66-59, I want to say. But overall, it did look like they ran out of gas at the end. They just couldn't get stops when they really needed it on Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier down that stretch towards the end of the game. And DeLon Wright was impactful, too, man. He was joking around with Johnny one time. He blocked Johnny's shot, and he said something to him. They both were laughing at each other, but Johnny's got to finish that. He's got to finish through contact and find a way to finish that layup on the fast break. So Johnny, that's something that he has to really a lot of things that he has to improve on in the offseason, whether he's going to be here on another team or in the NBA or in the NBA. But yeah, overall, like we talked about, I think a little bit of fatigue, them ready for the season to be over. Rebounds were even 42-42, so it wasn't like we got dominated on the boards. Turnovers were a story of the game too. Like Denny had a couple bad turnovers. 16 of 14, we had 16 turnovers, so it wasn't like they turned the ball over a lot, but they just turned the ball over at the worst time possible. And let's see here, three-point, we're 28% from the three-point line. We were terrible from the three-point line. Free throw line 60 for 21, so they got to improve on that too. Assist 27, only 6 steals tonight. He had 8 blocks. We only had 1 block tonight as well. So yeah, I mean, just the Heat are a better team, but they got to shoot the three better. They got to take care of the basketball. Yeah,
I mean, look, I totally agree, man. Like it just seems like they're running out of steam, man. They know that the season's ending, and it's just I'm trying to look at it from all perspectives, man. Like you know what I mean? Like, you know, as a fan, you want to see them play hard, man. But then as a player, it's like 82 games because there's 7 left. You're not playing for anything. So I get it, man. But 7 games left, so we'll see. Because at this point, it's just about player development and trying to get that number 1 overall pick. So, like I said, it is what it is at this point. I'm not gonna get too hard on them because I get it from their standpoint. But both games seem like they took their foot off the pedal and then boom, that was it. And the teams went on run and that was it. So we're gonna get into comments, but before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as a Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball, thank God, or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have Fire TV. I'm trying to tell y'all. Fire TV recently created the Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channel lets you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports. March Madness, the NBA, MLB, you got NFL draft come up, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, all you have to do is visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. All right.
Yes, sir. We'll probably read 3 comments. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
There was one comment at 9:19 and then another one at 9:31. So not a lot of comments tonight. I know it's a holiday, and a lot of people with their family and whatnot. So only 30 people in the chat tonight. So Vax said, and we're going to save a couple for tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
Vax, VACCZ _ says, why is Pat Bowman Jr. shooting so many threes? Yeah, we talked about this earlier. I mean, he's a 3-point shooter. That's what he's known for. He's been known for that since college and high school. Just being a 3-point shooter, a 3-point specialist. I mean, he's a good 3-point shooter, but like I was saying before, you're 6'10", like you can do more than just shoot threes. Yeah. I think he's more offensively skilled than, I don't want to keep talking about Davis Bertans, but I feel like, he can put the ball on the floor a little bit more and do a little bit more as far as creating a shot for himself. I know he's not a guy that's, cross people up and whatnot, but I feel like he can get to the basket and do more than just settle for 8 threes. I mean, you get to 5 threes, I think you want to do something. If you go 0 for 5 on the 3, I think you want to do something a little different. And I get it. If you're wide open and keep shooting them, but, how about a pump fake, get to the basket? How about a post up or something like that? Do something different. Try to get to the basket, at least get to the foul line. So that's my challenge for him. Hopefully Brian Keefe challenges him to do something, to do that as well. Try to create contact, get to the basket. But 0 for 8 is something like, hey man, you gotta do something different. I think he's better than that for sure.
Yeah, with his size, man, you got to drive the lane. Like you got to do something else. Like you said, you can't just be relying on your jump shot to a fault. We know he can hit them. He's got a nice stroke. He can hit those shots, but man, he's relying on it to a fault. I mean, it's just he's got to find other ways to get involved. Like I said, there's a few games during that winning stretch, man, where he provided some quality rebound numbers, man. So he's got to get in there with his size. You got to get in and get a rebound. Do something. You got to be more aggressive, man. Try to draw the foul, something. You cannot be reliant to the point where you're 0-8, man, and that's all you provide. So.
Mm-hmm. Right. Playing Opsis says I'm going to need better help after that Pistons loss. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because they were on a 3-game winning streak, and I was like, man, they could possibly go on a 5-game winning streak. They went out there and laid an egg on both games. I mean, the Nets game was competitive, went to overtime.
Yeah.
Definitely a game they should have won. But of course, we know the end goal is the lottery position, and getting the best draft pick possible.
Yeah, the Pistons game, it has new relevance now because of Kuz in the comment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really seems like the Pistons have used that as a rallying call because since he's made the comments, man, they've played a tough couple games, man. I mean, I believe the last 2 they won. So, I mean, look, you come out and say don't be that team, man. You got to show up, man. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's tough to really analyze, man, because that they're kind of checking out. So, it just, to me, these last 2 games are just all about effort, man. It's just these teams wanting it more. And it just seems like we're down and out and ready to roll. So, in 7 games left, I hope we, pick up the momentum and at least go out with some momentum, man. That's all I ask. But
right.
Let's see.
Guess we'll do one more. Area 11 has a couple of comments here. So he says, talking about Johnny, talking about Denny as well. Says, ask for the Detroit game, cruise and keep him walk out the door hand in hand. How yo leader who talk trash about them not show. Yeah, he had a rough game. He did. He had a rough game. He didn't play tonight either. But yeah, he had a rough game. He usually plays really well against the Pistons. But 5 for 22, and I want to say he went over from the 3-point line as well. We just pull up the stats from Friday night, but yeah, he did not shoot well. He didn't shoot the ball well at all. Against the Pistons defense is not good. We talked about how bad their defense is. They're like 28th in the league defensively. Yeah, Kuz almost had a Pat Baldwin game. He was 0 for 6 from the 3-point line. 8 boards though, 12 points, 5 for 22 from the field. So he shot the ball 22 times, ended up with 12 points, which is really, really, really bad. So rough game for Kuz for sure.
Yeah,
Brian Keefe. I don't have a problem with him, but I think they should give him a chance to interview, of course. But definitely look outside. Interview as many people as you can.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely earned an interview, in my opinion. They definitely he's gotten more out of them than West Side Jr. would have. And I hate to say that, but it's the truth. They've definitely responded to him. But I mean, you definitely go out there and interview. And like I said, I'm a Mike Budenholzer guy, but I think Juwan Howard, man, like he's looking for a job, man. He's a former Bullet. We got a couple of Wolverines on the team. Let's get it. Obviously,
he's gonna bring the energy for sure.
Oh, he's definitely gonna bring the energy, man.
He smack somebody too.
Pity the referee that makes him, man. I'm just trying to tell you.
And the other coach, because did he smack another coach? Yeah, he smacked another coach. Yeah.
So he's definitely gonna bring some intensity and a dog mentality to DC, man. So but I think he definitely earned the interview. He's definitely got a reaction out of these guys, and they definitely play harder with him. But you definitely try to, especially in Reba, you definitely shoot for the stars as far as the next head coach, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then talking about Trav. No Breaks New. We're going to have him on this week. He talked about Tristan Vucevic, so we'll talk about him tomorrow. But Trav to say, let's be real, we are crazy and expecting anything from PBJ. No, we're not. I wouldn't say we are. I mean, look at Julian Champagnie or Justin Champagnie. He came in, he played well. Look at Jared Butler. He came in, he's played really well. Jared Butler had a good game tonight too. We didn't really talk about him much, but he had a good performance. So a lot of the guys that are coming up from the G League or two-way contracts have been solid contributors this year. I mean, Jared Butler, 14 points, 7 assists. Champagnie's come in and had a couple good games. Eugene has come in and had a couple good games this year. So, yeah, I mean, we can expect more than 0 for 8. I mean, I'm not telling him to go out there and score 20 points, but I think we can expect better than 0 for 8, 0 for 8. We give Johnny a hard time, so we got to talk about Pat Baldwin when he struggles tonight too. So, Johnny tonight too, 4 points, 5 boards. Let him play with effort. Got blocked by the long right. Didn't shoot the ball much. Wasn't super aggressive. It's just basically a typical Johnny Davis night for the most part. But yeah, I mean, I think we should expect something from Pat Baldwin, especially since they traded for him. And I want to say that's the trade where they could have picked Tracy Jackson Davis if they would have just stayed where they were at. At the time, I'm not gonna act like I wanted Tracy Jackson Davis because I liked him coming out, but I wasn't like, oh, I want to get Tracy Jackson Davis, But that's something they could have did.
Want him now, don't you?
Right, yeah.
I mean, and like I said, every draft, man, it's always in hindsight where you look at missed picks, man. And like I said, I don't think any of us really expected him to be this polished as a guy, right now being a rookie, and man. So I mean, like I said, there's a lot of ifs in a lot of drafts, man. I mean, we just have more ifs than most teams, but I mean, Gigi Jackson was there, the list goes on. But before we roll, man, getting to Johnny, there's a comment real quick. Let me pull it up from area. Boop. Is that it? Yes, it. Area 11_T says also JD isn't as lost as it calls as y'all make him out to be. His defense is legit, which I agree. If he can fix his jumper, he could be a legit 3-and-D guy, and I think they may give him to the trade deadline to do it. I mean, the defense definitely legit. I'll give you that. He can definitely defend, but I mean, both me and he have both been very positive as far as what we expect from Johnny. When we want to see him step up, man. But when you are the 10th overall pick in year 2 and you're averaging 2.6 points a game, man, I don't know. I mean, he's averaging less than 1 assist, and he's averaging 1.5 rebounds. I mean, 10th overall pick, man. I mean, sooner or later, you got to see some kind of evolution in his game. I mean, he's got to step it up. Like, I don't know if they're going to give him this next year, because I don't think that this new front office has that loyalty to him, because they didn't draft him, man. Bilal's going to be their guy, obviously. So, I mean, I never want to see anybody struggle, man. Anybody, definitely want to see a young man succeed, man. But, I mean, we had to be honest about Johnny, man. I mean, again, he was our 10th overall pick, and we can't even get a full assist out of him. I mean, this is where I'm at, man. You got to admit that where you take an L. And with that draft, man, we just going to have to admit we took it out. It is what it is. Hopefully, man, maybe he finds some spinach in the offseason and we see a massive – but I don't know at this point if he's even going to be with the team. But I do wish him well in his future endeavors, man, whether it's here in D.C. or on another team. So,
right. Yeah, Johnny, it hasn't worked out to where he's probably wanted to be at this point. Just the shot changing so much, whether it was the coaches from last year or this year, which is unfortunate, because he hasn't had the same shooting form for 30 straight games. I think it's changed every 30 games. It's unfortunate. But I do see a couple comments here. We'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow. DJ Burns versus Zach Edey. I can't wait. That's going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely.
Zach Edey, we talked about Big Ten Players of the Year. Johnny Davis didn't work out. There's a couple of guys. I mean, I can't remember the list, but about the Big Ten Players of the Year. But for whatever reason, Big Ten Players of the Year have not played well. They just haven't really translated.
Yeah.
To the NBA. Now, Zach Edey was Player of the Year. Zach Edey was Player of the Year back-to-back years. Johnny Davis, Luka Garza back-to-back. Cassius Winston. Keita Bates-Diop. Keita Bates-Diop has been okay. Caleb Swanigan, rest in peace. Denzel Valentine, he's not in the league anymore. Frank Kaminsky, not in the league anymore, if I'm not mistaken. Just did not pan out. Nick Stauskas, not in the league anymore. Trey Burke, not in the league anymore, former Wizard. So just a lot of guys that I'm named. Cassius Winston, not in the league anymore, former Wizard. Luka Garza at the end of the bench. So just a lot of Evan Turner. He was picked after John Wall. Solid player, but didn't pan out for being the number 2 pick of the draft. So, I mean, I can go on and on about Big Ten Players of the Year. But Zach Edey is a guy that I think can break, not a curse, but I think he's a guy that can certainly be a darn good player in the NBA. Not only that, but he makes his free throws. He's a really, 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 really good free throw shooter. I'm a big fan of Zach Edey's game, and picking him right now, he's projected to be a lottery pick. We have pick 24 right now. Our second first round pick. And if he's there at 24, you got to run to the podium and pick him. Especially we don't have many bigs at all, but now we got Rashawn and Bagley. But still, to have a big man 7'4" and get him in the end of the first round, that would be a steal. But if we get another first round pick and we have 3 first round picks somehow by making a trade this offseason, Zach Edey is definitely on my radar. DJ Burns, I like him. I just don't know. I don't know how much of his game would translate. I feel like he's more of an old school.
Yeah.
You can say the same thing for Zach Edey, but he's 7'4". That's a difference. DJ Burns, Zach Randolph. That's basically what he plays like. Zach Randolph in today's NBA. I think he would still be good.
Yeah.
But it's just tougher now because of the way the game is played.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the Big Ten in basketball, especially Ohio State, Michigan, man. No disrespect to Jordan Poole, man, but I mean, don't forget Greg Oden, LeBron's grandfather. And then you had what was Jared Sullinger, you remember him?
Jared Sullinger from Ohio State,
Yeah.
he was really good, but just didn't
Yeah, I
pan
mean,
out.
he was a decent role guy, but translating from college to the pros, man, he just wasn't that same player like he was at Ohio State. But I mean, yeah, like you said, the list goes on. But Zach Edey, man, look, I'm with you. A big fan of him. I mean, he's 7'4", he's a dog. We need more dogs. So I mean, if he's there at 24, you definitely take him because I mean, looking at point guard, we're not gonna get into the whole future point guard, but if we go best player available, man, if we had the number one pick, man, I mean, Alex Sarr is definitely an option, but I mean, somebody else to look at is definitely Risache, man. And people call him Risacher, but it's French. But I mean, he's a forward man who can play. But this is definitely a highly development draft, man. So I mean, you just gotta expect that whoever you get, and really, if you look at Eddie, and another good point you really brought up, man, is that with him in college, being a college player as opposed to a foreign player, it's not going to take so long for him to translate to the NBA, in my opinion, because his mentality as far as being a dog in the paint, I think he should be able to develop relatively quickly because, again, this is a highly developmental draft, man. So don't have expectations for anybody you pick in this draft to be a starter right away because you're going to have to develop them. Whether it's the number one overall, even in the number 30 is a highly developmental draft. So,
Right. Now looking at Zach Edey, his free throw percent, he's at 71%, but we'll talk a little bit more about stuff like this tomorrow. DJ Burns, yes, he did go to Tennessee. He transferred. I got to look up and see if he was a 6-year player because there's a lot of guys that have played for like Armando Baycott for North Carolina. He played he's been playing forever and ever. He's finally, I think this is his last year. But yeah, we'll catch back up with some of this stuff tomorrow that we see some of the comments here. But we just want to thank you guys for rocking with us. Listen, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell as well. We will see you guys tomorrow. We're going to preview the game for Tuesday night. I want to say they have a back-to-back. They play the Lakers.
Yep.
And let me put the schedule real quick. They play the Lakers and the Bucks. They play the Bucks on Tuesday night and the Lakers on Wednesday. So we're going to preview both those games and give our predictions for those games. So there's going to be some challenging games for sure. Hell to the Wizards. Happy Easter. Peace.